What's the why behind why you're putting that product in front of your customer, or how is it telling a story for them and their brand?
Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hassman. Joining me today she's a new rock star, but she's a rock star all over our industry. She's a communications and public relations specialist at American Solutions for Business. Kate Murray, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Kirby. I'm super excited and honored to be here.
Yeah, no, I'm just, even before we started recording, this has just been a fun conversation, so I'm excited.
Yeah, a lot of good energy.
Yeah, it's magic. Right?
That's what we magic. This is magical.
Yeah, that's right. So for those who don't know, American Solutions for Business is one of the biggest names in branded merch. So what does it look like from the inside? And what have you learned about the industry just being a part of an organization of the magnitude of ASB?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm just over 2 years and still am fully blown away by the scale of not only ASB, but just the industry as a whole, which I think a lot of people can say. But from the inside, like ASB has been around for a while, a lot of tenure in the people that I get to work with on a daily basis. So the culture and just the camaraderie between everybody that works at ASB is really cool, and something fun to be a part of. And I think I've felt that at ASB, and I've seen that echo just in the industry as a whole. It's clear that people love this industry. They love what they do. A lot of us have heard that we're going to be here forever. I think I heard that in my first day or week.
Yeah.
And not in a way that like you're stuck here, but it's a place that people want to be and spend their time. And what we do is really cool. So I know we'll talk about it more today, and it's in a lot of our conversations, but yeah. It's blown me away.
Yeah, you're not trapped. You choose it for sure, right. And you get drawn back for those who leave. I always say that, like our big industry events, Las Vegas is one of them, and it's like a big class reunion every year. It's like you can't go 10 steps without running into new people that you haven't seen in a while, and so that's really good. And I really have heard that about ASB. Some of my favorite people in the industry work there. Dana Zezzo has been my longest friend in the industry, and so that's just good folks. So I echo what you're saying.
Yeah, I might be biased, but I feel pretty lucky.
Yeah, well, I think you're right on. So I'm kind of curious because, again, a lot of the time, the people who I interview, they're the folks who sell, right? They're the distributor salesperson, and you work on the communication side rather than the sales side of the merch world. So how do you think that vantage point changes the way you think about how brands and products get positioned and talk about?
Yeah, really good question. I'll just start by saying, like, salespeople are incredible. What you do on a daily basis, I bow down to you. I don't know if I could ever do it. I don't know if I'm cut out for it, but I love what I do on the communications and the marketing side of things, and I think that we play a really big role in the storytelling and the creativity and just the process behind actually getting these sales and getting these orders and kind of seeing a project from start to finish. It's a really, in a really simple way, it's a really cool vantage point to be in. And without having that sales experience, I try to be super intentional about just having conversations with reps, whether they're at ASB or just reps in the field that have all this sales experience. I want to know what they're dealing with on a daily basis, what they're going through, and how a communications person can help them be successful. So with storytelling and press releases and ideation, there's so much that we can do on the back end in this more of a home office support role to help sales be successful, whether that's on the front end or the back end.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit like the analogy I use is I think everybody should be a waiter or a waitress at some point because you see the world through a different vantage point.
Yeah.
I think being in sales, or if you have only been in sales living on the marketing side, getting that perspective does change the way you view what other people do, I will say,
Yeah.
because
No, I like that. I think the more you understand like what people are going through or have gone through, the better we can serve each other.
yeah. Well, you mentioned it just over 2 years in the industry, so I view that as still newer to the industry. I mean, certainly you have experience, so I want to say that with respect. But
Yeah.
you can look through fresh eyes, I think, when you look at the branded merch industry, and you're already making a mark. But what has surprised you most about the branded merch space since you jumped in?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I still definitely feel like a newbie, right? Like learning so much every single day. I don't know if I ever will feel like a vet. Like there's so much to know and
Yeah,
experience, but what I mean, surprised me or blew me away right away was just like the sheer size of the industry. There's there's so much history first of all, but there's so much like opportunity and growth. There's so many people involved and doing really cool things. And kind of going off of that, just like the creativity that we see on a daily basis and the strategy, it's so cool to um, see how the branded merch space has grown, and just the ideas and the opportunities that we have um, with the products that we have access to. ASB started print and went to promotional products, and it's just really cool to see many of our reps like weave those things together and find really creative ways to provide solutions for our customers. And I'll just kind of wrap up by saying the final thing that just really blew me away, and I think is what I maybe love most about the industry, is just the community, the camaraderie, the relationships. Like you mentioned earlier, whether it's like attending an in-person event or getting involved with a regional or finding a mentor that you just mesh really well with and pushes you, there's so many cool opportunities, and it's hard to summarize it in just a few words, but the scale, the creativity, and the community are.
yeah, I think that's a great answer, Kate. And I think sometimes, like when you talked about the scale, I think sometimes people lose sight of the sort of the logistics that have to go into just that one pen order, getting from one place to another and doing all the stuff. It is cool, and then you combine that with that creativity. It's neat to see all that.
Right. There's so many hands involved in just in one order, and I don't even know how many orders are going through every day in this whole industry, but the amount of people that are involved in each purchase order and process and from start to finish, it's really really cool. And we don't even begin to understand it, but that's why, like you said earlier, seeing what being in other people's shoes and seeing what other people, do on a daily basis or have been through is super important.
Yeah, it's one of the things I'm actually excited about that PPAI is doing, sort of releasing that new study that talks about. We've talked about the size of the industry for a long time, and I think that story's been incomplete. And I think they're doing a better job of trying to give the scope of what the industry touches. And I think that's a really good conversation to have.
Totally.
So I appreciate your perspective on that.
Yeah.
Okay, final question. We've talked about some of the good things that are going on, but let's talk about what we could do better. So what do you think the merch industry gets wrong about communication and storytelling, and what would you change if you could?
Yeah. That's a good question. It's hard. We talked about how things are always positive and magical, but it is important to ask these challenging questions and take a step back and challenge what we're doing. Um, I think in the branded merch industry, as it evolves, it's getting better, but we're so focused on product and pushing product and putting product in front of our customers, which of course is gonna write checks, but where is that coming from? What's the why behind why you're putting that product in front of your customer, or how is it telling a story for them and their brand? So I think less of just pushing products and putting catalogs in front of our customers. I would just love to see more um, people and faces. I know it's super uncomfortable to get in front of a camera. There are always nerves and discomfort with that, but People are a part of the story, and I think it's really important to share. Um, Kind of going off of that too, I just think every order and every transaction has a story that should be told, and there's so much more back end to that that from an outsider we don't fully understand. So rather than just saying, look, I did this cool drinkware with a logo on it, like how does that represent your customers mission and people and culture, and what does that mean to them? There are so many cool stories to tell, and I think we can really lean into that more heavily.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I completely agree. I think a couple things. Number one, I think you're right. We have gotten better. Like we aren't where we want to be as an industry, but we have gotten better at that, and I'm excited about it. And I think, to be honest, it's the newer faces in the industry like yourself that are driving that conversation. I think for years it was just like, hey man, we got to, like you said, they write checks. We gotta get out there and sell. But I think we're becoming more intentional about that. Not only the quality of the merchandise, but also the story it tells and the purpose it has. And so I agree. I think that's something we as an industry can continue to get better at. But I do like to reiterate that we've made some progress. There's still work
Yeah,
to do.
right. No, it's cool to
Yeah.
see things evolve, and I'm sure it will continue to, but especially in a world where AI is making a big impact too, it's even more important to just take a step back and share just raw and real stories and
Yes.
success too.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Kate, this has been great. I appreciate you taking the time on this. We will definitely do it again sometime, and I'm excited to chat more with you in the future. Okay.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kirby.
Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.